In this video, we're going to take a look at the shadows highlights adjustment. Now, unlike the adjustment layers we've looked at up to this point, provided you've been watching the videos sequentially, this is not a non-destructive operation. This is a completely destructive operation. That means it's going to actually affect the pixels of your layer or image, so keep that in mind. But it is a pretty straightforward operation. We're going to go under Image, jump down to Adjustments, and of course you can see all of the various adjustments that have analogous adjustment layers, and then we have the next 7 starting with Shadows Highlights. Now the idea of Shadows Highlights is to take your shadows and brighten them, and or take your highlights and darken them. In fact, as soon as we drop this down, we got a 35% adjustment to our shadows. If we drag this down to 0, we have what we started off with. So as we take our shadows slider and increase it, you can see that we're blowing out the shadows and bringing out a little more of that light data. Obviously, like everything in Photoshop, it's a good idea to keep this sort of thing subtle, but if your shadows are a bit dark, then this is a nice way to kind of bring that information out. I will throw this out there. This often is going to work a little bit better on images that you've shot out of your camera as opposed to compressed JPEGs, where you're going to start seeing anomalies in those darker pixels, but just keep that sort of thing in mind. Now, if I take my highlights and start to slide that to the right, we get exactly the opposite effect on the highlights. You'll notice we're darkening those. And overall, it's a reasonably subtle effect in that it's not going to do anything too crazy, like cause any nasty clipping effects, but it does start to look pretty artificial if you push it too far. So it's one of those things where, of course, subtlety is always going to be key. But that's pretty much all there is to it. If you hold down the Alt key, you can click on the cancel button and that will reset these settings to where they were previously. Of course, you can load and save individual settings if you like a particular setting. Now, that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, very, very straightforward operation, but that is going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot for watching.